What's up, everybody? This is Elron Humperdinck Dylan James. Hit my camera, coming at you from Political Dank House, and I want to wish everybody a happy Friday. At this point, it's 3:45 a.m. Eastern Standard, which is really Saturday, so we're already like into the weekend. So it's time for that frog party, if you know what I mean. Got this cool. I've had it, but look what I did. I customized. No! It went out. No, there it is. Look at it. Pretty cool, isn't it? You mad? Are you mad, bro? At the end, I'll probably turn the lights off in here. It might look cooler. You can wait until then. Or if you don't care about what I have to say, and you want to be that guy or that gal, you can just skip to where I'm done blabbing, but you should probably listen. Because I wanted to talk about what we can learn from the blacks on the Farrakhan issue. Now, as you've all heard, if you're in tuned and if you're hearing it from me, it's an honor for you to learn it from me. But all you need to know is that recently there was a purge. I remember last time was 8/6/2018. It was Alex Jones. I remember him exclusively on Facebook, all his platforms. And I remember it because 86, to get rid of, to kill. And police speak, or I guess government code, I guess whatever you call it, like 86 those patties, Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob, because the cops said, fuck it, we gotta go, to the scene of the crime. We don't have time to eat. Anyways, the 86th, John on the 86th. But today, before I get into today, we know that they've got stuff going on against conservatives and Twitter, and he's recently met with Trump. Who knows how that's going to happen. They've had the lawyer on Joe Rogan Experience with it's a Vijaya or something, and Dorsey was there looking like a dork, like he's just the head of a company that's run by the government, like Facebook. At least Jack Dorsey looks like a human dweeb instead of an android like Mark Zuckerberg. But now, after periodically purging these anti-war lefties, was it Occupy Peace? I mentioned him again, Joe Salente, he's in it. There's a lot of people that are in it. I'm sure it's like Jesse Ventura type of guy would be on it. People that obviously lean left, but are not for pro-war. But whenever it was time for Bush to be in office, it's like, oh, well, they're fighting the power. During the time of Obama, they still were anti-war, got a little bit of shit. But it's worse than ever now, even if it's a quote-unquote right-wing guy like Trump in there. Because anything, going against anti-war at this point in the United States demeanor, everybody talks about the neoliberals and the neocons, and they all get together when it's time for war. You'll have people saying we need to go liberate these people, these poor sarin gas victims and all that. And you'll have a John McCain saying there's oil over there, or we need to bomb the shit out of ISIS, despite him making... and by ISIS, I mean he's going to just bomb the shit out of everybody. He's dead. He's not bombing anybody, but he's in pictures with al-Baghdadi, and the same people that fund them are also going hand in glove with the other side that's saying it's a humanitarian issue. Europe's got to take these migrants after the neolibs say that, but the neocons were the ones who sent the people over there to die and bomb those places into submission to where they would need to have a reason to go north. But those people that criticize things like that, those anti-war of all kinds, it doesn't matter if you're left or right to them, because it's an interventionist versus a imperialist, to use the word, outlook. And those people are getting banned. And this is the first I've seen in a while where it's like, hey, we did this today. And it was people like Alex Jones, Paul Joseph Watson. I know Laura Loomer got it. There's other people, you have to forgive me, but Louis Farrakhan was one of them, and Paul Nealon was one of them. I think that's about it. I know there was probably more, but I'll leave them in the description if I can find out who they were. But they all got banned, and we all look at it. I know everybody's not sitting back like me as a conservative. Well, I'm not, conservative or leaning hard or right, are saying, well, that's not our place, the internet, we're just going to have to, whatever. Are we surprised? Are we surprised that they took one of us off? Or people? Are they surprised that they do it blatant? I know it's sneaky and underhanded to do it behind people's back and shadow ban and this and that, But at least back then, they were afraid of what it looks like. They don't give a damn now. And it doesn't matter about anti-Semitism and, oh, it's a woman or it's this or it's that or they're gay. Oh my God, they're black. Because someone like Milo, who's gay, Jewish, bangs black dudes, he's off. Someone like Gavin, who's in a mixed race relationship, his wife's liberal, well, at least was. They pushed her right, which is what's happened to a lot of people. So they're getting mad at what they themselves are doing to people. He's been banned, and he's pro-gay. He's pro-Israel. Then people like Laura Loomer, she's pro-Israel, like a Zionist, and she's a Jew. And so you don't hear anti-Semitism whenever she gets knocked off Twitter. And a lot of stuff is crazy, that she does. People can grimace, but that's what the problem with the right wing has been for so long. You have your people like Ben Shapiro. Why are you gonna lock yourself to the door of Twitter? That's kind of whorish. He's not gonna say that, but you're just trying to grant a teaching. It's not really gonna do anything. Yeah, it's not gonna do anything because you don't do anything. These soft right, not literal soft right, because they're the neocons I'm talking about. They're going harder. It just depends on what it is. Like war, they're softer when it comes to playing ball, and not conceding your principles, but not pushing the envelope, not stomping on any toes, mincing words. And I'm not saying that you can't be formal, you can't be kind, you don't have to curse, you don't have to be relatable. Look at Tucker Carlson. So you see a split between a Ben Shapiro and a Tucker Carlson as drastic as can be when it comes to intervention in Syria. Or Tucker will say, we're just over there for what are we doing? We promised we were going to get out. This is more Russia's purview. You have someone like Ben Shapiro say, yeah, but what about Israel and the Golan Heights? And we've got interest there. And I mean, he does. I don't have any interest when it pertains to Israel. I'm probably never going to go. I think they talk about how great the IDF is. I'm sure they can handle themselves. But that's beside the point. You see where they're diametrically opposed. And that's within the right. And I'm even farther than, say, a Tucker Carlson. And so the debate's there, it's just not being had, and certain issues or opinions on the right when it comes to that are getting squashed. You saw it with the McCain and the Rand Paul type of clash within the right, the infighting. He said we're going in, to Syria and or about Russia and this and that. And Rand's like, I'm not trying to put these sanctions on it, or what was it? I'm not trying to bully Russia in the sense that I don't want to put us in a position where we're now going at each other's throats. I don't want World War III. I don't want a no-fly zone. And McCain would say, you're a Russian agent. You're doing Putin's bidding. And so it has nothing to do with right getting along. And then I'm going to get into it in a second, but that's one of the follies that I believe on the spectrum that they have. What did I say when we could learn from the blacks when it comes to Farrakhan? Or is it, Muslims? There's a lot of different factions, and I'm not using black like just a color. All right, I'm referring to blacks in a group in 2019. Get at me. You know why? I'm not saying blacks is a group of racial identity, so put your rocks down. Don't hurl them at me. It's not stoning time yet. You can get me for something else. I've got plenty of unpopular opinions. Just save that rotary cuff for the big game. But I'm not just saying whites could learn from the blacks and these racial issues, or any issues for that matter, when it comes to identity, because we can't pretend that doesn't exist. They want us to all be different, all at the same time diversity is our strength, but you can't have diversity if you don't have the identities of each thing. I'm an artist. People would try to say, oh, this is elementary. Not really. I learned it in college, and I'm just playing. I really did, but I know what they mean by elementary, like low-level thinking, and it's not. A lot of people will say, well, that's too simple. It's like, do you lock your door? Do you want a border? And whether you think a wall or not, do you want a strong border? Well, or do you lock your door? Well, that's different. No, it's not. Because if everybody locked their door, it almost be like a border. You know what I mean? If everybody locked the country's door, it would be a border, at least strong border, if not a wall. And so it's like that comparison that I just give you. When it comes to separate, when you get diversity like they say, how can you tell all the diverse parts together? Like someone had a funny joke, and it was a rainbow, and the rainbow was all different colors. I mean, they were together. Whether you think we can coexist or not, this was just the colors. They were all different, but they were together. They were all different. And then in art, when you mix all those together without trying to keep, what would it be? I'm trying to remember. My teacher would kill me. In Minecraft, the proportions of your color, the hues, if you're not trying to keep a dominant color at least a little bit above the rest, you're going to get a mute brown or a neutral gray if it's 100% of everything, and it's just going to be slop looking, compared to what it was. It's all going to form into whatever, the more of whatever, think of the circle and the colors all around it, whatever is pulling more towards, like in the computer when you're doing your hue. And so I thought it was funny that about the diversity thing, that you can't have diversity as it's inclusive at the same time, because that would be what we want, the best of all cultures. And then you keep the best and you throw out, let's say the wife beating or the alcoholism or the incest or whatever a culture would have, whether it's gang violence or whatever. And so we're never going to get down to parsing what's good for the country and not out of each of these groups and then maintaining them into the American culture. You can celebrate the diversity of your background, but as far as the common, what works, what's our laws, we're never going to get to that if we can't talk about these things. And I'm saying that the conservatives who are people that are conservative are right of Stalin at this point. I know it's said a lot, but it really is. They should raise hell. They should make their voices heard. The dominant skill in the black community when pertaining to politics is that they're vocal and they're active and they're relentless. In today's eggshell world, these complimentary descriptions I just gave them are going to be taken as negative, insulting, demeaning, and dare I say racist. Every time there is a shooting of a black person, though, in America, it is a world story. It didn't just become that way. I mean, the media is behind it, but the media looks for a group that's already decently receptive, if not energized, that they're going to milk or play off of. And I'm not disparaging the people that are falling victim to the group thing. I'm talking about the people who are using that and the emotions of the people. It can't be that politicians care about the well-being of them in society, because at one point the government was for slavery. So they change. You can say they evolve when it comes to what's moral and what's not. But why does the government have? The government doesn't really have a right to be moral. There's a lot of stuff that they do now that people would consider immoral. You can check my videos that I do. There's a lot of things I think the government does that's considered legal but is immoral. And so today, every time there's a shooting in the United States, you can guarantee that Melbourne, Australia will be covering the story, if not having factions of people there protesting, like a Black Lives Matter or whatever, in Australia. I'm just using Australia as an example of the geographical reach of the politics and the reaction and the cohesion of this. Or dare I say identity, whether it's the color, whether it's the ideology, and that's their identity. People, workers of the world unite, commie type stuff. They really know how to energize. Love them or hate them. Checking my phone down here. But it's not just exclusive. It's not just exclusive to the area of Australia. That was just an example, because it's being talked about in Russia. They've got Black Lives Matter pages. Why do you think that the Russians? There was meddling. I'll do another video on my perception of that. But their whole thing was collusion, and the whole thing was obstruction. Because meddling, everybody meddles in our election. It's like it's like the upper level, or the evolved version of campaign finance. Stuff like that happens all the time. It's happening in the UK. It's even being talked about in places like China, where they're ultra Chinese in demographics. They're not black, and there's actually a chance talking over there about stuff like that, progressive things, that they could be jailed or killed by President Dictator Xi Jinping's communist government. Is at the point where some officers are antsy and cautious to a fault in their interaction with blacks, at the least, and afraid to shoot a black person committing an atrocity, at the most of fear of being the next burning voodoo doll in his or her hometown. It doesn't take a long till you're, as the Jeffersons would say, moving on up in exposure when you're the main topic on Anderson Pooper Cooper and Rachel Madcow Mandark Maddow or some other project Mockingbird program where millions of people will be convinced to hate you for your cause. Not only does that what I just said illustrate where the breakdown of some systems and interactions are, but it paints a picture of how powerful of a force a group can be when they make noise, just a little bit of noise, and they make a lot. Then you get used to it, you get better and better at it, you get more organized, unless you have no desire to be, and we'll get into that. To get better, that is. So not only does what I just said illustrate where the breakdown. Oh yeah, Project Mockingbird program. I was talking about Pooper Cooper and Maddow. They project Mockingbird program where millions of people will be convinced to hate you for the cause and just cause. If you are that guy, if you're that guy that shoots someone and they're gonna jump on it. Not only does what I just said illustrate where the breakdown of some systems and interactions are, but it paints a picture of how powerful of a force a group can be when they make some noise. We see this with the Farrakhan issue as well that I was talking about. How blacks of the activist variety of all kind get behind someone that they may or may not have anything in common with other than skin color. The same can be true with the farther left you go and becoming more collective. And this is not to say just race. I use something exclusive like that because there may be black people out there that how they could be. They don't give a damn about politics or anything, but they go, that's right, that's a brother, love it or hate it. And we're not going to sit here at Political Dank House and pretend it's not like that. It's something to look at and go, they really have cohesion. They really do. Whether you want to model it or idolize it or whatever, it's something to be noticed. And blacks of every variety, they all get behind them. It's because, the farther left you go, you got the collectiveness anyways, as the left will stab each other in the back and spit in each other's faces when the Democrats are in a primary. But when the time comes, they will get behind the nominee of the party. Not all, but most, as Jesse Lee Peterson, my man, would say, would get behind him. And when the Democrats, I'm not saying I'm for this. This is strong-handed. This is dirty. I'm not a fan of Bernie. I have nothing against his supporters. I disagree with them. There's some overlap that we had, like TPP was bad for us. And I'm not, the biggest fan of Wall Street, but what I'm saying is this: that when they didn't want to get behind them and Bernie and them got screwed, a great deal of them did. And every other person that Hillary screwed over, besides Bernie, and did dirty. And by did dirty, I mean Donna Brazile was in her pocket. CNN was giving her the questions beforehand. They weren't doing it to any other lefty or leftist or Democrat or liberal, whatever you want to call it, the whole range. And this is why I'm getting at, painting the whole range. Whenever Hillary Clinton was selected, because it was hashtag her turn, everybody fell in line. And the people that make the most deal was the media people. So it could make a damn about the people on the low level, so that's all that matters. And they all got behind. I know we were the Young Turks, other people, maybe even Pac-Man. I know that we were talking about how great Bernie was, and he was going to come in and he's not the establishment guy. He was the Trump of the left. We're going to come in and destroy. And then they got right behind Hillary Clinton. If you can see my feet, they're doing that. Well, we got to get behind her because we got to. And that's what they're good at. The left wingers know how to be cohesive. They know how to get behind somebody, damn it. And when the time comes, 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 But the farther right on the left and right scale, I know it's a paradigm to the based people, but on the paradigm, due to leaning to the extreme of anarchy when you go farther right, rather less collective, more collective. It's more of anarchy, like a no control, no whatever, no rules. In the extreme of communism to the left, that we'll fight each other through the primary. The farther right we are, we'll fight each other up to the primary. What makes us different than the left is that we won't fucking stop at the primary. We will fight each other up until the election day of the main election. If you saw it, we saw this in 2016 when Ted Cruz spoke at the RNC. You remember in July of 2016 about voting your conscience down the ballot. And I'm not doing this to slander him. That's what he said. Vote for people you trust, you love, you deserve. And it was the finale of his speech. It got some boos, because he was building it up. I don't think he was talking about Trump, but he was talking about what people stood for and how they were going to win, and they wanted to fight. And even if you just wanted to pick the wanted to fight, the fighting spirit that he was trying to convey, Trump was that dude. I mean, he's coming in slinging. That's what made me interested in him. Is it looked like a guy, whether he's the epitome of conservative or not. He was coming in with the energy people needed. There's people that are good at the sport, know the game, know everything, but they don't have the team spirit. You get you one guy in there, he can change the whole thing up, change the whole team spirit up, and that's what I wanted about Trump. And Trump was the party elect front runner in the primary for the Republican Party at that point, and Cruz still pushed against the platform Trump was running on. We'll try to find difference of each other until November 8, 2016. Or 6, sorry, I'm thinking of, no, that's 8, yeah. 6 was 2018, that was the midterms, that's a whole nother. But, good thing I'm not under oath, otherwise I'd probably get 3 or 4 years or something. The way trash like that works. But this is just a YouTube video, so. And there's people that still voted Cruz. There's people, and Cruz is the lesser of these examples. Numerous broadcasters that included Ben Shapiro. I call him, Ben Shaziro, and he's earlier when I was talking about it in this video about the softer right, the people that are we'll play by the rules because really we don't care about this, we don't care about that. It's as long as we're allowed to be this and be that. The people that said you may call yourself a conservative, but if you're not conserving, you're not a conservative. And people like Steven Crowder, even, I would listen to him throughout the election. It's not like, I felt scorned or backstabbed. I'd listen and I'd go, yeah, he's like, you consider him a never Trumpers. They might not call themselves that, but to their chagrin, it's a description, not a name. Their actions said it. No matter what Trump did, he couldn't do right. And when he did something right, they just didn't talk about it. It was nuts to me to see people that were like that. And I'm not saying you don't, he's a detestable guy with his character and blah blah blah, and I was sitting there thinking that, yeah, sure, okay, that's your opinion, but they would say it every time, start the show, end the show, this and that, and I'm like, are you trying to use Trump to make a moral objection, to talk about how morally not superior, sure, but not superior as much as like the people that say, look at where America has gone to, and I'm thinking, if you're worried about the morals and stuff of the country, it's ground up. It's not, let's elect this and it chops the head off of the immoral snake and we're Gucci. Unless you're trying to be, fascistic, fast changing by force, or a monarchy. Okay, snap my fingers, everybody's under my rule. I just love the way they want to pretend that. It's just the SJWs of the right wing. I can't believe someone said grab him by the pussy. Not the people that said, I feel like he did it. Because people, saying that you can do something, like I could say, if I wanted to, I could whoop your ass to my friend, Well, what does that mean? It means he goes around beating asses, he's a violent guy. No, I could. And I could jump off the building here, and kill myself. Doesn't mean I'm going to. Or doesn't mean I have. When I'm trying to say you can do that with the famous or whatever, people are, oh my God, I can't believe it. people were just, it's not that people couldn't believe that he even said that. They can't believe that people talk like that. Well, nobody I'm around talks like that. Well, fine, but you somehow speak for America, or these people are political people. They've heard a lot worse stuff, or they're comedians, and you've never heard that. I understand it's dirty, but like with me, I play music. I'm a classic rock type of guy. I've heard techno. I've heard metal. I've heard people that play all sorts of these things pop. If you're a comedian and you're not hearing raunchy comedy, even if you're not a raunchy comedian, then I don't. Or it's like you got virgin ears. You're willfully just come up with a reason to not like Trump. Other than that, and granted, some of these people in the example, they're corporate establishment. They're not even people like me that are lesser establishment and don't like most of the people that are Republican. I would technically be a Republican of the two. But I've never, I've always been quote unquote independent, and not to make a stand or anything, but I just was. I haven't changed it. I just don't care to. But I obviously lean right. But I remember even back then thinking, they don't have their shit together. Republicans don't, there's not Republicans out there that make someone want to be a Republican. There's people, not in the party, like there's people in the party, there's people at the top that, well, we're Republicans, like, you're people always say good old boys. Like those, the establishment, just like the Democrats. But those are the people I'm talking about. They are willing to let Hillary win. And not just because she's a quote-unquote good candidate. Or they were willing to work against their own party at a time when the one who had the best chance of becoming a front runner was Donald Trump. They're working against their own interests. And I don't... Well, he's not this. He's not your example for that. He's your catalyst to get what you think the world should be like in there, and that's where I think they were missing the concept. Either that, or they were too busy, stroking it to their moral ego to care about winning. And it's like in basketball. I'm not the best sports guy, but I would assume this would work as an analogy. It's like when you come down from a shot and you miss it, you do what you can to not hit somebody. You come down just enough, or you try to get into somebody enough to where they'll call a foul so that you can say, yeah, I'll get that, extra point, maybe, if I can shoot my free throw. They're the types that will say, well, we can't do that because it's not hurting me. And you go, why not? It's not illegal, though. And we're not even talking legality, we're talking morality. It's not immoral to come down on someone and play a rule. Use a rule in your favor because the rule is set and it's legal. Well, morality. If you're looking for Jesus Christ, that's how they keep beating you. They're holding your morality against you. They don't care. Theirs goes with the wind. And these Republicans were willing to work against their own party, and all for principle, they say. But what have the conservatives conserved by lying on their backs and playing nice? That's what I want to know. What? I would say that they were working against their own interest, but with the way these people who would make more money and gain more watch time on YouTube and whatever, under the rule of being the opposing party, if a Democrat or somebody, or Hillary at the time had gotten elected, well, she'd be great for Republican business, or right, because everybody be dialed in listening to her like they were under Obama. I can't really say that that wasn't on their mind either. But I asked the pure to death out there, the pure to death out there, what good is having a distant official be your preacher, your teacher, a model for your children, when that person will roll over when pressed? What good is not voting for someone on principles when the person rivaling them would have you in a death camp or suicided? No wonder neocons could look the other way with the no-fly zones by Hillary Clinton in the second, maybe third presidential debate, which would have caused World War III with Russia. It serves their purpose too. Like I mentioned in McCain, everybody's pro-war, but and what good, that person I said, oh, they're good, they're perfect, they're a good role model, they're so classy. And I love when people do that about Obama. I mean, if you want to get, ultra Puritan, he smokes cigarettes. I don't give a shit. But you do, apparently. Just be honest. Say, I don't like Trump. Don't say, oh, it's because there's no class. if you looked at other people from across the world, they looked at Trump, they'd say, "Wow, nice hotels. Wow, nice suit. Wow, nice hair. Nice classy wife." They would think it's class because of what he has. So I don't know what the hell you're gauging it on. It's just a feckless argument. Just say you don't like somebody. I hate that. And I'll get into another video later tonight. People always go, "Well, so-and-so's hand's hurting in this cartoon. It's cramping from counting all of Trump's lies." My thing is, I don't care that you're saying Trump lies. I'm sure he does, and there's times I know he does. There's things he's let me down so far on that's not a lie until it's his chances are over to fix it. But to me, it's like it's just so noticeable that people are pretending to care about lies now, and not just pretending to care as in, well, people always didn't like being lied to or things not coming through. I'm saying that people are pretending like it's an epidemic, like it's never been to this level. This is the first time things have happened. I would agree in some sense that it's never been this bad, but if you look at the media, it's them. And when I work with people, cartoons and stuff like for newspapers, it's funny to hear them take offense to it. And I go, "You're a small town paper. Donald Trump don't even fucking know you." When he says enemy of the people, well, I'll take offense to that. And you're saying, "I'll stand with CNN." I'm not saying to not, stand for free speech. Absolutely not. But to sit there and die on CNN Hill, CNN would take every hometown paper in this country and sacrifice them so that they could have one day on the air in some damn airport's bathroom that nobody's watching except the empty stall with the urinal cake in it. So I don't want, dying for... CNN doesn't even know you. Unlike these purists, I'm not looking at Trump as the epitome of what conservatism means as much as I'm looking at a wrecking ball to the enemies I have, who not only oppose my views, but they oppose my right to even express and to advocate and to fight for these views. I can't say some of the things that I believe in, and not because they're edgy, but in school, there's people that get in trouble for not saying the right pronouns. Oh, there's more than there's not more than one gender. Biology people train their ass off to become teachers to talk about male and female, and that's everybody was worried about the women's movement, the male's movement. They separated us like that, and then now the same people are going to say, "Well, gender doesn't matter." Why is it a big deal for a male to become a female and a female to become a male if there's no difference between the genders? And I'm not even talking about they think there's no physical difference. That's a whole other can of retarded worms. They think there's no conceptual difference. And to elaborate on that, conservatives as a group point from earlier I made, just think if they were to have their own right lives matter or right opinions matter in the case that I'm about to lay out. I have beef with Black Lives Matter, the group, not the names word on paper, Black Lives Matter. I think everybody's life matters, and even the All Lives Matter. I know people go, "Why do people say All Lives Matter? You never said that before." Yeah, because nobody ever said Black Lives Matter. Nobody ever had to say that. Nobody thought about that. And I never even said White Lives Matter, White Pride. I've never said any of that. I never thought about it. And I know people have, but you can see a noticeable difference when people started thinking about color and talking about it in a way that it was new to them or to the country, and it happened because of that galvanization. But my point is they're effective whether I agree with them or not. That's why some of the right pisses me off is they act like, well, Trump got this done, but he's not a great person. It's like he's not there to be a great person. He's there to get shit done. A business executive, and ironically Trump is one, but when the business executive goes in and cutthroats in a meeting to get the best deal for you and the best health care for his workers or whatever's good for him or them or the bottom line, he's going in there like a thug. He's not going in there saying, "How do you do? Do you have a moment in time to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?" And I'm not saying that he can't be a kind and nice man. Or kind, sorry, not nice. Nice is pushover. Kind means that you treat all with respect, but you will not be disrespected. It's just like with Christ. Christ was kind, he wasn't nice. It's kind to keep people in check. Nice people won't at the risk of hurting someone's feelings. And you see that with the left. They're too nice. They're nice. And it goes with this Black Lives Matter. They want to look nice. We get your plight. We get your struggle. We're not going to criticize you. And I'm not advocating for the destruction and illegality that they do, like on what we should do as conservatives, uh, that they utilize it and they get away with it. I'm not advocating for that. No violence whatsoever. I'm talking about being active though, out in the streets. Out in the streets is not violence. And I am, however, saying that we should be organized like them as much as we can, but as much as we can without Soros money and, frankly, and you know, without the Koch brothers money either. Because my faction, I guess you'd say, if I'm in a group, kind of like a hardcore traditionalist, you know, the Koch brothers, they're not going to be interested in someone like me or a group of me, like an anti-war person. They've got their own interests. They got all sorts of things that they want to fund and finance when it comes to oil, war, intervention, corporatism, you know, even that, you know. Neither one of them really gives a shit what the dissident right has to say, like me, whether it's the Koch brothers or Soros or any other people funding these things. If we were to be out in the streets with 50-foot signs, a megaphone, and a human mass of numbers, we could get the government's ear, or at least let tech giants know how we're tired of getting kicked off of these leftist outlets for disagreeing or using the wrong pronouns. I can't say for a fact that they would learn to think twice about banning someone, or that it'd stop, or even become preservers of free speech through a learned lesson, or even that things would change and they'll be fair to people with the views like me, and that they do not deem allowed. But you won't. It's not you want to scare people. You just want people to let people know where you stand, and sometimes that'll scare people, but you're not doing it to them. When you say, I can take my business elsewhere, you're not trying to scare someone. You're letting them know I'm unhappy, I'm displeased with the service, and if the person gives a damn about you or making money or their business or their reputation, they'll say, hey, what can I do to fix this? What can I do to not lose this customer? What can I do to make this money? I'm about to wrap it up, but yeah, even people like Snoop Dogg, I want to end on him. I think he's a coward, and not just because of he disagrees with me or he said bad things. I think he's a racist. Of course, I don't believe in racism. I believe in just hatred, but he is just consumed with hate. He said we need somebody like Farrakhan. We I can't believe he got banned. He didn't say anything about the rest of them. People I've listened to today, whether it was Alex Jones, Owen Benjamin, I'm trying to think of everybody, Hard Bastard. I listened to a great deal of people. I'm going to spare you the list, but they all had great take. They just said, I don't agree with Farrakhan on everything. And they ranged in what they agreed and disagreed on. Some didn't even like him. But, he doesn't deserve to be banned either. And he's not even right wing. He's clearly left. He's clearly a left wing person. But I'm not advocating for him to be banned. Surprised they did. And Snoop is mad. And knowing Snoop, he's a political idiot. Yeah, he doesn't care. He blows with the damn wind. He's looking at it, like I said in the beginning of this video, he's looking at his color. That's a fellow black man. They're keeping a brother down. And I don't give a damn why he does it. The fact is he does it. And what makes him a coward about it is he's on Instagram saying, we need to do something. Or Twitter, rather, whichever it is. I think it's Instagram. We all need to post. But I'll tell you this so I can tell you that. When you post these people, at least I know for a fact, Alex Jones on Facebook and maybe other ones, but on Facebook, if you post Alex Jones now, because he can't post, but if you post about him and it's not in a disparaging way, because of course the double standard is you're allowed to shit on people that can't fight for themselves and can't stand up because you kicked them off that account or that platform. You can't even say things about these people or promote them or share things about them because you'll get banned. And after a long time or suspended and your post will be removed, after over and over and over, they'll say, we'll get it. You're not getting the picture. We're going to ban you completely because you're sharing somebody's stuff they can't get out on behalf of the person themselves. But I told you that to tell you this. Snoop Dogg is saying, well, we need to say F you to Facebook. I'll tell you this and that. And he's getting by with talking shit to Facebook. Somebody else would have been kicked off saying you're about to start an insurrection online. he's saying we should mean people to death. You know, memes are violence nowadays. We're at that point. But with him, he said just meme stuff about Farrakhan, or post something about Farrakhan, or repost what I've got, or not what I've got, something that says we want Farrakhan. You know, change something in solidarity. And what's funny is Snoop Dogg the bitch hasn't even put anything on his own Instagram. So either he doesn't care, he's disingenuous, he's a fake ass, or he knows, like the coward that he is, that he'll get banned for that. That he's not above the law. He's not that kind of protected class yet. And either that, or he's like this, you know, CIA spook type of guy he is. He's like to me, he's like an agent. You know, the way he agitates race issues. You know, he lays off the blunts for 5 seconds. He's out there saying, "Damn white people, Donald Trump, you know, fucking crack ass." That's all he's good for. Wheel out that stupid ass vegetable that's brain's been killed to death by a retarded amount of marijuana. And he's not even going to stand by his own word. He's not even going to post on Instagram, at least post something that says, "I stand with Farrakhan," then say, "Retweet this if you can't see anything else, if you can't come up with your own." He don't even have the example because he's not setting the example. He's just bitching and whining. And I don't even know why. It's just to make a scene. And like I said, he don't even know why. He's looking at the color, at least definitely in Snoop's case, he's looking at the color and immediately thinking, I got to defend him, I don't know why. And we need to, as conservatives and people that are right wing and right of center, even people that are anti-war left, people that are reasonable. That's why you saw me with a video earlier that's like got the most views so far. I don't think everybody thinks I'm a lefty, but they're saying nice things about Tulsi. They're, you know, criticizing Trump, rightfully so. You can do whatever you want on my comments. That's fine. Just don't advocate violence. But you even call each other names. But anyways, it's well received. A lot of people are thanking me for it and saying it's really articulate. Thank you for speaking up. I want people that will fight each other, and not physically, but you know, I want someone like a Tulsi to go up against Trump instead of Kamala. Trump will destroy Kamala. All these people they're not going to force Trump, or conservatives, or people to the right. They're not going to force them to, like I said, have to band together because damn, she's really appealing to the middle ground. Tulsi is, you know, she's respectable, she's smart, she's doing what she can to win her case. Republicans and right wingers are going to get lazy if we've got stupid competition, and that's not good for me because I want to be pushed farther right, or like I said, get people back into where they actually want to conserve instead of just saying, well, you know, I'll just be personally conservative and maybe socially liberal. Whether you think that's good or bad, right? But the thing is, they're being pushed, and they're just. What's worse, I expect them to be pushed by liberals or whoever to open up more, you know, to be conservative. Whatever, that's their job. I don't blame them for that. I blame the conservatives for not stepping up and saying, no, we're going to conserve this. We're going to keep this rule. We think this part of society helps this way to run. And they're just not doing it. They're not fighting back, and they're not raising hell about censorship. Whenever it's somebody that they like, I mean, I like Raheem Kassam, but he was, you know, he's a little bit more known in these Fox circles and things, and so you'll see Shapiro and all these other people tweeting about him. Yeah, we need him. He's important. This and that. But nobody's going to defend an Alex Jones, who's not even, you know, decently right on a lot of stuff. If you look at where he's at with social issues, he's, you know, libertarian. I'm not, you know. But we can't defend them. We can't defend them because. Well, then just have your good little group of jackasses. The reason that they don't, the people on the right that I'm talking about don't want to defend anybody else around them that they might have in common is because they don't care. They're the cool kids in the school, and I admit in the right wing there's a problem with that. I mean, definitely with the left, but we got the cool kids club to where, well, who cares if they're getting banned anyways? Ben Shapiro's like, well, I already ignore Alex Jones, so who cares if he gets banned? Or somebody will say something about him, and well, that's why I don't like that. Let's be cordial. I'm not saying you can't. Let's be respectful. Let's talk about words. It's just so crass because those are the people that you can't build off of with each other when you infight because they're not going to take criticism. They're just going to say, wow, he's unhinged, he's whatever. They're not going to take someone's point. They're going to, well, he should get banned because he used the curse word. Or he disparaged Obama. And just so basic and it's like everything's above them. We'll see how above it all you are when you can't type about anything, because you'll either be exposed as being in the in crowd or you won't have a leg to stand on. Nobody will be there to help you out. But you guys tell me what you think. It went a little long on this one, but I want you to see this real quick. Follow me, your boy, on Instagram at Political Dank House, which is at political _ DANQ HOUSA HOUSE. Almost said A. On Twitter, it's political _ dank DANQ. It cut us off on Twitter. They're trying to shut us up. Nah, I'm just playing. I think that's everything. Couldn't find the light. I think that's everything from me. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. You guys hop to it and keep hopping. Thank you so much.